So we're back. That was weird, wasn't it? Not quite sure what happened there. So there's some technical issues there. Hopefully we've resolved them now, and you're not going to spend the next half an hour looking at me because, you know, quite honestly, I don't want that as much as you don't want that. So we're going to start again with Spain. And we're going to, sorry if you've already heard this, we're going to go back to Tristan. And I promise you he's not got this written down. Tristan, you can go again. The floor is yours.
Okay, well, yeah, so Spain. I'm personally, when I first heard the Spanish, I was listening to all the Operación Triunfo shows. He wasn't one of my favourite singers, and this wasn't one of my favourite songs. And I was very surprised to see it doing so well in the polls and at the bookies. But then when the video came out, it went down quite a lot in the polls. And that's probably because people got very attached to the old version, and they felt that the revamp took away a lot of the innocence of the original version. Funnily enough, for me, it had the opposite effect. I like it a lot more now with the revamp. And of course, people, when they watch it in Tel Aviv, they won't have heard the original version, so they've got nothing to compare it to. I think the new version is excellent. It has added a really good beat. It's made the instruments much more sort of brassier, and I love the electric the Spanish guitar that's been added to the revamped version. Just before that bit, this is fantastic. It's really it's going to do very well, and this is one song that's been keep going up and up and up in my ranking. I think personally this is going to be Spain's best result in years. It'll definitely be top 10. I'm no doubt about that. If we look back at sort of over the last sort of 20 odd years, I mean, when Spain has brought a male singer singing a Latin type song, they've done very well. 2004, Ramon with Para Llenarme de Ti came 10th. And then a few years before that, in 2001, David Civera, Dile que la quiero, came 6th. And I think it's going to be around about that mark. Between 6th and 10th, I'd go maybe 6th or 7th for Spain. It's a good song. It's a lot better thanks to the revamp, in spite of what some people think who are attached to the old version. And yeah, it's going to be a good year, an exciting year for Spain.
Thanks, Tristan. Mitchell, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so there's a lot that I appreciate and like about this song. I think if you listen from a technical point of view, it's a really difficult song to sing, and there's nothing I dislike about it. But for whatever reason, I'm still left not that into the song. Like I just disregard it. I will definitely enjoy watching it and everything like that. But I think when I look at my favorites, it's not up there. It's interesting because I like, you know, up-tempo songs, but I think this is one that I wouldn't really choose to listen to. I think it's just kind of, there's a lot of energy to begin with, and at the end it's left with the same amount of energy. I don't see like any kind of progression except for the which is really good, but then it goes back to the same energy as the whole song began with. So definitely a fun street party song, and I could hear them playing this everywhere during Eurovision, but I can't see it being at the top for me.
Thank you very much, Mitchell. Martin, what's Spain doing for you? Is this a potential winner in your opinion?
No, the problem I have with the revamp is obviously we've only got effectively official video of it, and I've still got in my head, as Tristan's saying, the national final, which Mickey's wasn't the best singer, but he really sold it on the performance, and the charm was its amateurish nature. And I've said on the radio show yesterday, because I played the revamp, that I compared it to Jedward's in that effectively what it was like in the national final was a bit like Lipstick, amateur, but that was the charm. It looked, you know, you just made you smile looking him going around the stage with the sort of 5 girls with the sort of pretending to play their drums, with the crowd really getting into it. And I don't know how this new version is going to be, whether he's going to sing it better, in which case is he going to lose some of the staging, in which case is he going to I could have seen how he did it in the national final in Spain, getting loads of televotes, no jury votes, but loads of televotes. And that's my confusion at the moment. I would probably want to see how the revamp is how it sounds live, and how it's done live. I mean, I've still given it sort of 7 out of 10, so it's not bad, but it does put it in the sort of 20s position for me, so it would be down the table really. But yeah, I mean, it's still up in the air. I really liked how he did it in the national final, but I think that was just the fact that it just made me really smile at the end of that long national final.
Thanks, Martin. Down in the 20s again for Spain. They'll be delighted to hear that. And finally, Gemma, this is going to be a banger in the hall in Tel Aviv, right?
Oh, for sure. I can't wait. We're all going to be singing and dancing. Like, it's just nice to actually have a happy song, especially with all the ballads and what have you. And it's just nice to actually have a song that you can just dance to and you can just have a little party to. I think it's going to be great. I do think it probably will be in sort of the middle ground scoring-wise, but I think it'll do really well.
Yeah, so let's find out what we think it's going to do. So, Gemma, I just came to you last. So you said middle ground, sort of mid-table for you?
Yeah, definitely in the middle.
Mid-table. Joe, what are your thoughts?
I think top 10. It's in my top 3. I do love him. I've always loved him, whether it's the revamp or the original. But I think top 10.
Great. Thank you, Joe. Martin? You sort of said 20s, didn't you?
If he can do the new version like he did in the national final, and it's all staged that way, I could probably see it in the top half of the table, because I think it would get lots of televotes, but it won't get hardly any jury votes. But we'll wait and see. I'm now a bit of I don't know where it's going to be since it's been revamped.
Mitchell?
22nd for me.
22nd. Poor old Spain. Tom, what are your thoughts?
I reckon this is going to be Spain's best showing since they sent Ruth Lorenzo in 2014, which basically means I reckon they're going to occupy a slot within the teens. I don't see them in the 20s. I see them mid-table mediocrity.
And finally, Tristan, quick thoughts on where they think they finish.
I think
top 10?
6th or 7th. Yeah.
Thank you. Ness?
18th.
18th. I'm thinking Spain might do a little better than they have done in recent times. I could see this being around sort of mid-table too. So we think Spain are either going to do okay, finish top 10, or do an absolute disaster again for what would be their 8th time in 11 years in this case. So there you go. They have it for Spain. Let's now turn our attention to the awards and best group. So who were the best, the entries nominated for best group? First entry was Kino in Norway. The second entry was Electric Fields for Australia. The third entry was Tesho in Ukraine. I think, have I pronounced that right, Tristan?
Tesho, yeah, Tesho.
Tesho. Shepherd in Australia, Hatari in Iceland, and Arvingana in Sweden. So, who won? So, last was Arvingana in Sweden. Sorry, Tom, you're not doing too well here. Never mind. Maybe better than next time. Joint second last was Tesho and Shepherd of Australia. Fourth last was Hatari of Iceland, which leads either Kino or Electric Fields as the winner. And I can tell you that with 41.5% of the votes, the winner of Best Group 2019 is Electric Fields of Australia.
Yay!
There you go. There you go. It actually went backwards and forwards. Kino were leading for a little bit, and then Electric Fields came through the end. So moving on to 2 more of these to go. We're going to talk about Romania. So Romania, 19 participations since their debut in 1994, yet to win. They've come close a couple of times. Last year was the first time they've not made the final. And this was a controversial selection for Romania. If you cast your mind back to Selectia Națională, this was not the favourite. The favourite was Army of Love and Laura Breton's Hello Father. The voting was a bit odd in Selectia Națională, I think it's fair to say. By the time we actually got to the televote, the decision was really already taken. Esther Pioni was going to win, so it didn't really matter what the Romanian fans thought that they wanted to send to Tel Aviv. The decision was already made. So, what do we think of Esther Pioni and on a Sunday? Tom, what are your thoughts?
Well, do you know what? I think I've changed my opinion on this one slightly. When I saw the performance at Selection Nationale, I thought the performance was actually quite distracting in terms of how I viewed the song. And I wasn't its greatest fan. But Friday night went to the Eurovision event in London, Boom Bang Bang, and we actually saw the video. And in actual fact, watching the video and listening to it, I actually had a totally different opinion of it. And I went from thinking to myself, this is not going to qualify at all, to thinking, in actual fact, this is actually somewhat underrated at the moment. The song has a nice enough melody to it, but it stands out very nicely as well. And I think this could qualify. I think this could actually go through to the grand final for Romania.
Thank you, Tom. Tristan, what are your thoughts?
I'm a big fan. It's been in my top 10 right from the start. It's still in my top 10. I can't see it getting out of there. Yes, in the Romanian national final, I was a big fan of Laura Bretan's Dear Father song. But this is a worthy winner. And I think, obviously, it's not got the controversy that Laura Bretan had. It's going to do well. It will qualify. I've got absolutely no doubt about it. I love the staging that they had in the Selectia Națională, where they're getting sort of like up and down from a chair. I thought that was great. I hope that they maybe do something similar in Tel Aviv, because that was very effective, and I think that's what sort of swayed the judges on the day. It was beautifully staged with those also the guys playing the instruments, banging the drums next to her. It will definitely get through, and I think it will do a lot better than what people are expecting.
Thanks, Tristan. Joe, what's your thoughts?
I really like it. I always liked her, to be fair, but at the same time, I didn't think she was the best and the one that was going to win the selection. But at the end of the day, it's just grown on me. I think, as the others have said, it's definitely one of those growers, and whether that's good enough for the fan, sort of the casual person watching the final, the semis. But at the end of the day, I just think every time, I'm thinking what song shall I sing in my head, and that one comes up every single time on a Sunday, every time. And even now, it's playing back in the back of my mind. And, I think if do the recaps of the semis, if that keeps doing it, it's going to be the one that is going to stand out personally. And I think she will scrape in and qualify, even though a lot of people think she wouldn't.
Thank you, Joe. Ness, what do you think?
Oh my goodness. Do you remember how much I really didn't like this song? And now I really like this song. Yeah, I have to agree a lot with the comments so far. I don't know. Yeah, it's an earworm. It grows on me, and I like it. And it will qualify. Or are you going to ask us that, though?
I will ask you that, but yeah. Given that Romania only failed on one occasion and they finished 11th last year, I know which way I'd go with this. I'll just make a point as well. I think I said Laura Bratton, Hello Father. Of course it wasn't. It was Dear Father. Gemma, round this off for us. What did you make of Romania's choice this year? I
love Romania. I thought it was amazing. It's always in my head. I never doubted it. I really enjoy it. I can't wait for it to be on the stage. I do. I hope they take the chair as well. That's one of my favourite parts of it. It's in my top. It's probably almost in my top 5, actually.
Maybe they can share chairs with Denmark, because Denmark could definitely be taking a chair, won't they? Big chair. So,
if it fits in the stadium.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, someone will have to crane it in and build it. Anyway, so what do we think of Romania? Qualify, non-qualify, Gemma?
Qualify.
Joe?
For sure.
Qualify.
Martin?
Yeah, qualifier, but I'd be going with her semi-final performance where it's all dark and she had dirt all over her arms, because I think that was better than the final.
Mitchell, what do you think?
Top 5 if they get rid of the guitarists on the stage.
Top 5. Wow. Tom?
I reckon that she is a definite qualifier. And you know what? The chat room are saying that, you know, it could be close run, but the chat room does seem to be in vague agreement. They're saying that it's going to be one of these ones that we've said before. It's going to skim past, maybe, or just sneak in.
I'm glad to hear the chat room has stayed with us, Tom, despite our technical issues. That's good to know as well that Esther Pioni is going to have a good Eurovision. Tristan, what do you think?
Absolutely, definitely qualifier, and will do very well in the final.
Yeah, finally, Ness.
Yeah, it's going to qualify.
It's going to qualify easy, isn't it? It's the humans didn't, and just barely last year. This is going to absolutely breeze through. So there you go. That's Romania. So moving back to the awards, only a couple more of these. Most improved national final. So did we select some? I can't remember who it was. Somebody clearly daft from that show chose internal selections as the most improved national final. How did we actually allow that in? Seriously, what was going on at that moment?
Andy, wasn't it?
Andy.
Was it? Yeah, that's why he sodded off. Yeah, absolutely. He escaped before he could be criticised. Supernova of Latvia. Who chose X Factor Malta? That was Jason, wasn't it? Festival de Canção of Portugal. Unser Lied for Israel, the German selection. Vidbeer of Ukraine, and Song Vakepin. I didn't pronounce that right at all, did I? What's the Iceland one?
Song Vakepin.
Thank you. There you go. So last place was, I'm glad to say, the internal selections. Someone with some sense out there. Second last was Vidbeer with in Ukraine. Third last was Supernova of Latvia. Fourth last was the German selection, which leaves Iceland, Malta, and Portugal. Third was Iceland. Second was Malta, which means the winner with 28% of the vote was Festival de Canção, Portugal. Portugal have the most improved national final of 2019.
Sadly, not the most improved song.
And
Some
David
love it.
Ray is in the chat room. And
There you go.
I
But he's
can
happy.
definitely say that is something he is going to go absolutely cock-a-hoop over.
Yeah, so there you go. So Festival de Canção has the best, most improved national final of 2019. Final song review of the evening, North Macedonia. So the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, as they were once known, participated 18 times since their debut in 1998. Who can remember the song from 1998? Anyone? Oh Cred. Anyone remember that? No. Okay, I do.
Are you saying the Macedonian song, or are you saying the Romanian song?
That's Romanian. Oh my god!
So, I wasn't listening. I was responding to the chat room.
Oh, give up, Tom. I'm done.
I was thinking.
Me out.
I was thinking. Ukred is the Romanian song, and that was a beautiful song.
Yeah. Whoops. No, it was the guy, wasn't it? With the guy with the croaky voice in 20. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I screwed that one right up. Anyway, moving on rather rapidly. Best result they ever had was 12th place in 2006 with Elena Ritszewska with the song Nana Nana Ya. I don't know if everyone remembers that. However, the last 10 years, North Macedonia, as they're now called, have only qualified once with Kalopi in 2012, finishing 12th in the final, of course, in the Eurovision final. Tamara Todevska with the song Proud this year. She's dedicating her entry to her children and everyone fighting for their dreams and believing in their own greatness. What do we think of Proud? I'm coming to Martin first. Martin, what are your thoughts on this song and North Macedonia's chances?
Well, I mean, people might know at Eurofest I actually interviewed IQ and Russell Davis, who's the regular person from the head of delegation, or one of the people in delegation for Macedonia was there as well, and they all really rate Tamara, and even IQ was saying that they feel that this is probably their best ever singer to be sent to Eurovision. So, you know, and listening to the official video and sort of live stuff, she's definitely got a great voice. It's probably one of the few pure ballads that is going to be in Tel Aviv. There's not that many this year, you know, apart from Israel. I'm trying to think of another one, and especially another one in that semi-final. I suppose Albania is sort of like another power ballad, and it's whether you classify Sergei Lazarev, whatever that's going to be. So that's how that could stand out. And you know, obviously it's got very interesting lyrics that are sort of specific, and if you get that, that will add to the song. It's just whether it will stand out enough. That's my only thought as to whether it will qualify. I think vocally she'll be fine, but sometimes in a lot of Eurovisions, having a great singer and a decent ballad doesn't always make you stand out enough to get you through to the final. But we'll wait and see, because obviously we don't know anything about staging or anything like that.
Thank you, Martin. Joe, what are your thoughts on North Macedonia's chances?
Yeah, I love that song. I love the song and I love the singer. I think she's gorgeous. The meaning behind it, there's a few tears when I listen to it. I think, oh, you know, you think back to your own parents, your mom. Yeah, whether she'll qualify, I think I agree a lot with what Martin was saying. I do wonder totally as to how it's going to be, and I think it's not just the staging and how it's going to stand out, but what songs are put between, you know, or they're put between. Because if there's a cork of a song before and one afterwards, then yeah, it could get lost. But at the end of the day, I think, you know, I personally, if I wanted Macedonia to get through, if I was Krista, I would put this one last, because it's one of those sort of striking ones that could really hit you in the stomach and say, yay, got to vote for this one, because it's, you know, it's that powerful. If that makes sense.
Thank you, Joe. And Tom, what are your thoughts on this?
You know what? I really, really hope that the staging of this is something that reflects the video, because the video is really powerful for this song, where she does things in sign language. Sorry, she's wearing a t-shirt that says proud. It's one of those songs that has a real emotional heart to it, and in actual fact, I think in some ways the French have done North Macedonia a favour this year, because the song that I draw parallels with is Tu l'as. And it has that amount of emotion and power behind it that Simone did. And I think, in actual fact, this could secure the jury vote, definitely. I think it will pick up some televotes, and I think this is going to be their best result in a very long time. Could even be their best ever, Stuart.
I agree, yes. It was better than Okred in 1998, that was for sure. Just to clarify, it was Vlado Janevski with the song Nezori Zora. Got there in the end. He did have a croaky voice. How the hell I got that from? Apologies to all our North Macedonian viewers. Right, so let's go to the panel one final time and find out how North Macedonia are going to do. Do we think they're a qualifier, Gemma?
I'm not a huge fan of this song. I think it's going to be a little bit boring on stage, so I'm going to say no.
And Joe, what do you think?
I think this one will scrape in. Yes, I do.
Martin?
I think it's going to be about the same level as I put Lithuania. So if it does get there, it will just get there. But it will be highly dependent on how it looks live. Thank
you, Martin. Mitchell?
Top 10 for me.
Oh, Tom?
Definite qualifier for me. I know I'm going to caveat this because I think it's going to do it on the jury votes.
Tristan?
Yeah, for me, definitely top. It's in my overall top 10. It will definitely qualify, and it'll be probably their best result ever.
And finally, Ness.
Yeah, I hope it qualifies, but it totally depends on staging.
Thanks, Ness. There's a bit of Barbara Streisand about this for me. I listen to it and I think Barbara Streisand actually reminds me of. Do you remember Barbara Streisand and Celine Dion with the song "Tell Me" from a few years ago? It really reminds me of that song. I don't know why. Just that's because it's probably doesn't resemble that at all, but it really sort of brings me back to that song itself. I think. Sorry, Mitchell.
I always think of the song by another Tamara, "Keep the Faith" from Georgia.
I remember.
Yeah.
I thought it was the same singer at first.
I think this might qualify. Actually, I really do. I think it's about time we see North Macedonia in the final. Last year was good as well, but I think this year is really good. They have actually. She is a really successful singer-songwriter in North Macedonia. So if she can't qualify, I'm not sure what they do next. So I'm going to go for a qualifier. So there we have it. I think in general, we believe North Macedonia are going to qualify for this year's Eurovision final. Final award of the night: Best National Final.
Oh, this is a given, Stuart. Come on.
Best National Final. So, who were the runners and riders in the Best National Final? So we had Eesti Lau of Estonia. We had the Festival de Canção of Portugal. We had Destination Eurovision of France. We had the Melody Grand Prix of Norway. We had San Remo of Italy. We had Melody Festivalen of Sweden. And of course, we had Eurovision Australia Decides, which both Mitchell and Gemma went to, I might add. So who won? So in last place, very sad to say, it was Estonia with the Eesti Lau. In the second last place was Destination Eurovision in France. Third last was San Remo of Italy. Fourth last was Festival de Canção of Portugal, which leaves Australia, Melody Festivalen, and MGP Norway. Third was MGP Norway with 11.9%. And the two runaway winners were Australia and Melody Festivalen. So who won and who came second? So with 38.1% of the vote, the winner and the best national final of 2019 was, sorry guys, Melody Festivalen of Sweden.
Yes!
Well deserved.
However, 30% of the votes, Australia. So really, those two were miles ahead of everything else. So,
yeah, but come on, the whole, what was Sarah did that Australian lady who's completely politically incorrect. I've forgotten her name now.
Linda Woodruff.
That's it.
English,
just genius.
She's English. She's not Australian.
She's English.
Australian to me.
No, is it?
Maybe I've had a few too many gins in Stockholm. Sorry. Oh my God.
She's supposed to be British. Yeah.
Well, it came out Australian to me. Sorry, guys.
So there we have it. 6 songs, 6 awards. So next Wednesday, same time, same place. Hopefully, better technical broadcast for you. We'll actually get to see people's faces for the first half an hour. We are going to cover 6 more songs. We're going to cover Hungary, Slovenia, Serbia, Albania, Czech Republic, and the United Kingdom. How are the UK going to do in Eurovision 2019? And we'll also have the other 6 nominations. So thank you for tuning in. Do not forget, you can download this as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, and Stitcher. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating. Write lots of lovely comments.
We're not Uber drivers.
Yeah, well, we are in the podcasting world. In fact, actually,
okay.
Given the technical issues, this will be better as a podcast. I think it's fair to say.
I'm only a friend.
And by the way, that's Stitcher, not Snitcher.
It's Stitcher. Yeah. So, and write lots of lovely comments and nasty ones about Tom. He hasn't had any nasty ones yet. And also, don't forget to click subscribe if you're watching this on catch up, which I suspect most will be. Make sure you click that subscribe button, click the like button, or the dislike button. Write lots of comments. We love your comments, good and bad, don't we, Tom?
Of course we do. And Stuart loves responding to them, because I'll be honest, I'll leave him to respond to them.
And Stuart, you could get a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend to subscribe. Yeah?
Yeah, I like that.
That's a good one.
Very good.
Can I capture that? All that's left for me to do is to say thank you to our guests this evening. I'd just like to say a big thank you to Gemma. So thank you so much for joining us. An early morning rise for you just to be on our show. Really appreciate it. And thanks for doing that for us.
It's been good. I get to go to work now, so that's fun.
Enjoy your day.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you as always, my friend.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you. Good to be here again.
I'm just going to say, make sure you are subscribed to Martin's podcast, radio show, and blog. Also, the same with Mitchell, MJT Reviews. We're doing some stuff together on there, reviewing the songs. So make sure you subscribe. Thank you again, Mitchell, as always.
Thanks. Bonsoir, everyone.
Thank you, Tom. I'll come to you last, if that's okay. Thank you, Tristan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ness.
Thank you.
Oh, and by the way, don't forget, this one's for Gemma. It's 25 Australian dollars to become a member of OGay Australia. If you're not a member of OGay Australia, why aren't you? Make sure you do that. There you go. Nice little plug for you and the team, Gem.
Thanks. Don't forget about all the preview parties.
Tom, how the chat room doing?
Oh, do you know what? The chat room has been a hive of activity. A big shout out to Elliot, who's just joined us. I'm assuming he will be on catch up. And a lot of love in the room for North Macedonia as well. And do you know what, Stuart? It's actually been really nice to be in the chat room for a change.
It's a nice place to be, isn't it? They're a nice bunch. They're a nice bunch.
They're a lovely bunch.
Join us here next week, Wednesday, 2200 CET, Central European Time. That's 9 o'clock GMT. We will be back. Then it gets interesting. We will be at the Eurovision in Concert party in Amsterdam with a few of the guests on the panel. We will then also be at London Eurovision party, and we might have some very special broadcasts in plan.
Don't forget, everyone, clocks go forward 1 hour this weekend. So lose an hour's sleep as well in Europe.
Yes,
on Sunday.
On Mother's Day.
So
you lose an hour's sleep.
So it's going to be 9 p.m. BST.
Yes. Yeah, that's very true.
Just get me a G&T. I'll be fine.
Thanks, everyone. We're going to say goodnight.
Thanks.
And good morning in Australia. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.